street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. Trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what you told me, Brother Brown. When I God has smiled on me, He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
All right, then, oh, you got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this
Please.
weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got, tell, Reverend Bird, be ready, Daniel, 5th chapter, I want him to read. And, I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what, half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready.
Oh.
Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them I owe y'all. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people in what time it is. It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM. Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York for the next 3 hours. It's Exhale Friday. On Fridays, we go and end the week by letting you call in and talk about whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart. All you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. I see Democracy.Fund is saying the goal is to have 100 likes by Halloween, and all of you need to learn how, when you go on your page, how to hit like when you're watching on live stream, and that drives up numbers, and he has a goal. I'm glad he is committed to it. I appreciate that. Barbara Jean's already on our page saying liked and shared. Is it Toki Hall is saying, good afternoon, Reverend Al. Toki, is it Toki or Tookie? From Mount Vernon, New York, right up the road. And Democracy.Fund is saying, the only power we have to spread Shepherd Sharpton's word, W-U-R-D, online is to click the like. That's how you do it. Click the like. Lot going on. You, if you've been following the news this morning, John Bolton, the former National Security Agency head under Trump, who turned around and said Trump was not qualified to be president. Well, he was indicted on various charges that he was misusing, mishandling classified documents. What was interesting to me, as I heard the story early this morning while I was working out, and then later I went over to 30 Rockefeller Center to do 40 minutes of Morning Joe, and the indictment, the charges, and the breakdown by the prosecutor sound almost like the charges that was against Donald Trump in Georgia that they threw out and have tried to crucify Fannie Willis for bringing the charges. Now, I don't know the whole background on John Bolton. He's been a life-term conservative. I don't even think I've ever met him. So I don't have an axe to grind there. I know Tish James. I knew Fannie Willis. I met many times Marilyn Mosby. I don't know this guy. But it seems really strange to me that they're coming to deal with this, and this is the stuff they said that Trump, they dropped that indictment. So we're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with, of course, that tomorrow is No More King's Day. And I got you, Roderick McCoy said, don't forget us watching on YouTube. I will not forget y'all on YouTube. You're correct. Tomorrow's No More King's Day. People marching all over the country. They expect the biggest march turnout that has happened. There was a debate in New York last night of the mayoral candidates, Zoran Mandani and Andrew Cuomo, former governor, and Curtis Sliwa, the head of the Guardian Angels. I don't think was a whole lot of winning and losing. I think everybody made their point. I think that they needed to probably score the most against Mandami because even Fox News has him up ahead of everybody. They got him over 50% of the vote, and that ain't good news for Cuomo and them. I think Mandami's ran a great campaign, and I think the issue of affordability that he's been talking about is a concern, and people need to realize that. Trump, President Donald Trump's supposed to be meeting today with Zelensky about other weapons for Ukraine, while his Gaza peace accord seems to be jeopardized because there is reported killings by Hamas of other Palestinians, and they have not been able to, the Hamas, to deliver all of the deceased hostages. So with all of that bragging, they are now back down to threatening each other over there, and Trump in the middle of the threats. We also watched, did y'all see this viral video of a mother and a police officer trading punches outside a daughter's school? I mean, I had to look at it more than once. It was let me get it right, Erica McGriff, 39-year-old Florida mother, was arrested outside her daughter's school it was a charter school, I believe, in Jacksonville, Florida, on October 7th, after a confrontation with an officer named Randy Halton that turned physical. The video from police body cam and bystanders showed the officer throwing McGriff to the ground, placing her in a headlock, and McGriff screaming that she could not breathe. You know you're going to hear more about that one. And North Carolina, only swing district meaning it could go Republican or Democrats, only swing district, and a black congressman is there. It's one of the districts targeted in this whole taking back our voting rights. I was on Morning Joe this morning in Atlanta the night promoting the documentary that's coming on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Andrew Young. And I think it couldn't be more timely because we need to think about the sacrifices and the things that were paid, the price that was paid, that we enjoy a life our parents and God knows our grandparents didn't. And we certainly should keep the fight to maintain what they fought for and gain more so our grandchildren can be closer to equality than we are. So that's why I think this documentary on Andrew Young was so important. That I traveled for it. I got it in the studio today and promoted it. It'll be on tonight. And I think that it is erroneous for people to believe that, well, the struggle's over, they done took the White House. We never had the White House. We always forced it, and we can force it this time. Rodney King, the mayor of Queensbridge Houses, said Trump used the term witch hunt when he was indicted. So what would you call what he's doing with these indictments? The pot calling the kettle black, I guess. Very good point. All right, let's start taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Call somebody and tell them turn on Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton, and you can turn it on YouTube, turn it on our website at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to live stream, or you can call in. But I want you to tell me we're in the Another week gone. We're in the federal government shutdown, and Trump has not been able to break the stalemate in his own party. A lot to talk about. And I'm open up the phones on Fridays and let you exhale whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. 1-877-532-5797 Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin is... every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Thank you. Well, they said that we couldn't do it, but all the world can see that when we come together, when we rise above our differences, we can come and show an effort that no one can stop. Let us first salute Minister Louis Farrakhan for making a call that reached all of us and has shaken the world. Let me say this. When we hear the word today, when we leave here this evening, we are not leaving having had just a rally. We're going home to do some work. You think you see a crowd now, wait till we go home and get our sisters. You think you've seen something now, wait till we go home and get our mothers. The political story of '94 was the angry white man voted in a new Congress. Well, get ready, America, for the story of '96 when the enlightened black man brings in a new Congress. It's time for Mr. Gingrich and the angry white man who are angry at the wrong people. We are doubly unemployed. Why are you angry at us? Our icons are being demoralized. Why are you angry at us? So let the angry white man meet the enlightened black man that will join hands with other enlightened people and bring us another way. In '63, we had to march across the Red Sea, Reverend Wilson. Well, in '95, we are headed to the Jordan. We don't have to backtrack. We can go forward. And why are you so surprised we're here? Did you think that we would continue to watch our images put down? Look at what they did to people from Michael Jackson all the way across the board. That just because they were people of color were desecrated and demoralized. Well, now we've learned if we hold each other's hands, we can take care of our own Michael Jacksons. We can take care of our own young men. You see the brothers here, but what about the hundreds of thousands behind bars that couldn't come here? We got to stand up and free them too. OJ is home, but Mumi Abu-Jamal ain't home. And we won't stop till all of our people that need a chance in an awkward and unbalanced criminal justice system can come home. I end by saying this. 1988, there was a preacher that ran for president named Pat Robertson. He got 2 million votes. There were those young people and ministers and others that took those 2 million votes and in 94 took America. Well, in 88, Jesse Jackson got 7 million votes. And his younger brothers and younger cousins can transform that with the energy given and mobilization given by Minister Farrakhan and others in leadership. And we can change 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96 if we come alive in 95. So we joined the minister. We joined black men and black women and our leaders all over America saying, stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been shackled, but stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been beaten and bruised, but stand up, black man. Let your children, let your daughters, let them all over the world see us stand up together. We all live on one block. We may have different houses, but it's all the same block. Elijah Muhammad's house is on that block. Martin Luther King's house is on that block. Walana Karanga's house is on that block. But let me tell you something, when you set the block on fire, I don't have time to look at other houses' videos. It's time for all of us to come out together and save the block of black folk in America. Some of us will stand up and fight. Some of us won't switch. Some of us won't buckle or bow. As James Brown said, some of us rather die on our feet than live on our knees. Thank you and God bless you.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they started in Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, that ACP people defense fund together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this stuff.
In many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
my friends.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and let me open up. It is Exhale Friday. Let me tell you, this weekend it's going to be red hot on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. I'm going to have on two of the senators to talk about how we're going to break this shutdown. I'm going to have on the No Kings organizer of the marches all over the country tomorrow. I'm going to have on a member of the Budget Committee, and I am going to, on Sunday, have on several members of Congress and the Senate. And I am honored that I'm going to have on the pastor of the St. Agatha Catholic Church in Chicago. This is the minister you saw in the news that he was barred from giving communion to ICE detainees. And he's going to talk about his plans for his next option. He'll be with me on Sunday. I'll be doing it live from Chicago. So I'll be live from New York tomorrow with all of the senators, the budget folks, the people that can interpret what these legal ramifications are and the shutdown, and the organizer of the No More Kings March that's happening in 2,500 cities tomorrow. And then Sunday, members of the Senate and the Congress and the minister that was arrested for trying to serve communion. Yeah, I know some right-wingers, Republicans, that saying, wait a minute now, you can't deny people communion. Yes, you can if you don't believe in it. That's the only way you can justify that. You that are in the New York area, meet me in the morning at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're going to have a hot rally tomorrow. We are winding down on how we're handling our strategy of going to shareholders meetings that start the end of this month, beginning of November. We're going to talk a little about that, talk about the indictments of John Bolton now, following Tish James, following James Comey. A lot to talk about tomorrow. It's time for action. And I tell people, if you are serious about movement, and that's why I hope everybody watches that Andy Young documentary tonight on MSNBC starting at 9. If you're serious about movement, you got to at least put in 2 hours a week. You can come to a rally. Or if you're not in New York, sit home and watch it on Impact Television or NationalActionNetwork.net. Otherwise, you're not serious. You got all this, what I call sitting on a stoop kind of anger. Sitting on a stoop at your house, sitting on the rocking chair on your porch, sitting up on the telephone, just running your mouth and never do anything tangible about the things that you're talking about. Nothing. So I want you to be at the rally if you're in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, or watch the rally. Now, you that are in Atlanta, the NAN Atlanta chapter members, or people interested in being members or volunteers, they're meeting tomorrow, which is the 18th of October, tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 11:30, only hour and a half, at the regional office. I was there this week when I was in Atlanta. 632 Peoples Street, Southwest Atlanta. And you can call Ms. Edith at area code 678-732-0405 and be part of National Action Network Atlanta chapter. We had a great, strong chapter there, and about a year or so ago started going out, so they want to regroup. People ask me, what happened to the chapter in Atlanta? You happened. You have not been there, have not been involved. Be there tomorrow and make it effective, because we certainly need Georgia ready. And among other things we need done. So I'm going to be calling in, seeing how many comes for the relaunch of the Atlanta chapter on tomorrow. All right, let's go to the phones. Let me start with my dear friend, and she and I lost a dear friend, my best friend, Dwight McKee, passed 2 days ago. And I'll be with his family when I come in there on Saturday night to be with them Sunday morning and do some things with Reverend Jackson.
But it's as much as we prepare for things, Miss Eunice, you just when it hits you, it hits you. It hit me pretty hard. He was my best friend for 50 years, Dwight McKee,
Certainly
activist.
does certainly does hit you, I tell you. And Reverend, I would just like to say hello to Miss Richardson. Like she said the other day, we won't be around for so long now, but we still have to use the fight that we have within us.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Reverend author Joan Walsh, who is white, she wrote this book about what's the matter with white people. I say the same. Now, we had our own Black Wall Street, and they bombed it over some allegations by a white woman. In Elaine, Arkansas, there were black organizing against unfair prices for the crop, and about 25 to 200 blacks were reported to have been killed at that point. And when we go on our own, they can't take it. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. And I'm certainly looking forward to tomorrow's marching across the nation. It's time to stand up, and we can't just do it one day. We've got to get out there every day. Because do you remember the 381 days? What if they had sat down?
That's
we
right.
Still would be, and we still wouldn't be riding on the bus. And this Johnson is despicable. And they can lie and don't think anything about it. And this Steve, what is Steve Miller?
Yeah,
Is it
Stephen Miller, yes.
And he's the most despicable also. And you see Patel, he stands back there looking stupid. What happened to Bongino? You don't hear his name called anymore.
Yeah, that's true. He's like just faded. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. And Pam Bundy, she should be ashamed of herself. And I'm wondering if these people have children, the way they talk, do they think about the future of their children? And enough said, and thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. You
weekend.
have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for calling. On our message board, Lori Parks is saying this is also a great day this Saturday weekend to support your black-owned local businesses and online. Don't order from Amazon, Walmart, or other retail online outlets. I spend your black dollars wisely. Lori Parks, great activist. I really see her in the trenches, and she's as serious as she can be. O.G. Kelly saying the Republicans have been planning this autocracy. This is why they made it illegal file tax exempt on your W-4 payroll. Interesting. Happiness Donut says, no one knows the dead hour. You're right. No one knows when we all getting out of here. People talk about, I'm young, I got time. You don't know how much time you got. I preached funerals for people that was teenagers. You don't know how much time you got. But you better use the time you have and use it wisely. Let me go back to the phone. Let me go to Germany. I haven't heard from Rick a few days. Rick in Germany, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good day, Brother Sharpton. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
I just want to ask about voting rights and where we stand with this government on voting rights there in America.
Well, the Supreme Court had oral arguments this week. They're trying to take out Section 2 and say that you can no longer refer to race in what it is when you determine the district lines. And that went before the Supreme Court this week. They did the oral arguments. We'll know their decision between now and June. It is possible. Let me say this, and I'm going to break. It is possible that this conservative court may come back against Section 2, which would neutralize then the Voting Rights Act. We're on the verge of losing the Voting Rights Act 65. They already diluted it in a few years ago in 2013. Now this would wipe it out, and we need to be very vigilant on this. That's why we marched on Wall Street. That's why people are marching. That's part of the march tomorrow. No More Kings. I'll be dealing with it at length on Politics Nation on tomorrow night and on Sunday night. But it is serious. Everything that, when you look at that documentary tonight on Andrew Young on MSNBC. Everything we fought for is about to be taken back. And we're sitting around, Rick, like there's nothing going on, and I am outraged by it. But let me get ready to take my break, and I'll come back as Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. No, just stand still. No, just stand still. No, just stand still. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation.
seem excited, I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
Come on.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was fasting. And when Jesus got
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Exhale Friday. I love Exhale Friday because I like to hear from regular people, from people with PhDs to people that dropped out of school, regular people. And you know, I watch my message board and know I love that we got regular people. O.G. Kelly on talking about he's doing his fish fry tonight. Say got my shrimp, French fries, coleslaw, and hush puppies and stuffed crabs. It's regular stuff. And then Happiness Donuts answering back, and this one answering back. We just regular folk doing irregular commitment. That's what it is. Some people are too elitist to be involved in movements because they don't know how to be regular and talk to regular people. And I love that we can commune each other like family. I don't eat that stuff anymore, OG, but I only eat raw vegetables and salads. Maybe have a piece of boiled fish once or twice a week, maybe. No more than once or twice a week, and that's sea bass. That's it. And I work out every morning. That's it. That's why I can do what I do. Linda Bird Ross is saying, I'm a native of New York. Enjoy listening to what you have to say and share. Thank you, Linda, and stay with us. Let's go back to the phone. Let me go to Brother Gregory in Charlotte, North Carolina. Brother Gregory.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I do a lot of research, mostly try to use Google to convey information to the people that I do find doing my research. And first of all, I want to say thanks for Rick from Germany for mentioning that question about the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
And thanks for your coverage and your focus on the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and that is at the United States Supreme Court. And one of the things that I thought about, Reverend Al, is you're stressing is, do the people truly understand how important this case is? And one way that I looked at it is to ask the people this. Think about it. If the Supreme Court rules against Section 2 in this case, we could have less voting rights in 2025 than our ancestors did in 1965.
That's right.
That's how important this case is, Reverend Al.
That's right.
And one of the other things that I did, as far as a phrase to describe this current situation that African Americans find themselves in, this phrase here: the Republicans are trying to turn back the clock all the way back to Dred Scott. And on that phrase, I asked the question: who is the one true leader of this movement to turn back the clock? Now, many people point first to Trump, but Trump can't do this all by himself. There's someone else, Reverend Al, and I developed a historical parallel to get that answer. And basically take a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle, and on one side you have one category, and the category is civil rights leaders, and you ask 3 questions. The first question is, who's the current leader? The current leader, Reverend Al Sharpton. Second question, who is the mentor? And as you said, you've had many mentors, Brother James Brown, Sister Austin's father, a preacher, but you mentioned Reverend Jesse Jackson specifically as one of your mentors. But the third question is, that's the student, that's the mentor, what's the school of thought? And the school of thought is the King School of Thought. And the thought leader is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But the other half of this historical parallel is important for what we're going through today, Reverend Al, and specifically what you said about the Supreme Court. The second category, right beside civil rights leaders, is Chief Justices of the United States Supreme Court.
Okay.
So let's ask the same questions. First question, who's the current leader? The current leader is Chief Justice John Roberts. Who was his mentor? Just like Jesse Jackson was your mentor. The mentor for Chief Justice John Roberts was Chief Justice Robert Rehnquist. But then we get to the third question. What was the school of thought? Or what is the school of thought? And the school of thought for Chief Justice John Roberts and Chief Justice Robert Rehnquist, his mentor, is the Taney School of Thought. Their mentor, their thought leader, is Chief Justice Roger Taney. Just like we can trace it back from Reverend Al to Reverend Jesse Jackson to Dr. King, the Republicans, and at the Chief Justice level, they can trace it back from Chief Justice John Roberts to Chief Justice Rehnquist to Chief Justice Roger Taney.
Now, and let me let you finish, but I want people to understand how deep what you just said is, because Roger Taney was the Chief Justice appointed by slave master and slave owner and segregationist President Andrew Jackson, and he appointed Roger Taney to the Supreme Court. He was then made Supreme Court Justice. He was the one that did the Dred Scott decision that said by law, this is Taney, who Brother Gregory just talked about, by law that blacks had no rights that any white was bound to respect, by law. And that held all the way until the 60s, really, with all of the decisions coming after that, Percy versus Ferguson, all those decisions. It is wow. That's some kind of research you're doing there.
Well, thank you, Reverend Al. I have to say, I see why you're the top civil rights leaders, because you just covered my next Google.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give it
Well,
back.
I just wanted to, I was excited about it because I was reading a lot up on this just this week, and but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Thank you, Reverend Al. That was a good history lesson. And please, if you're doing that research, please do these Googles, and the people too.
Well, I was
Now,
reading on
first
the
one-
Plessy versus. I was reading on that case this week, which brings you right back to Roger Taney, the Plessy case. But go ahead.
Yes, sir. The first Google is Chief Justice Roberts and Chief Justice Taney are twins. That's Chief Justice Roberts and Chief Justice Taney are twins. And this is an article written by a prominent political scientist, and it says that the Roberts court is very similar to the Roger Taney court, if you do your research on it. And just as you're saying, Reverend Al, the next Google is Chief Justice Roberts and the Voting Rights Act. That's Chief Justice Roberts and the Voting Rights Act. And you'll find several articles mentioning that since he was even a law student at Harvard University, Chief Justice John Roberts has been talking about nullifying the Voting Rights Act.
Wow.
Not just Section 2, but Sections 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's in writing. Now, another Google is Chief Justice Rehnquist wrote a letter in support of Plessy v. Ferguson. That's Chief Justice Rehnquist wrote a letter in support of Plessy v. Ferguson. And at the time of the case of Brown versus Board of Education, prominent judges and lawyers like Justice Rehnquist were asked to give their opinion. And he actually wrote an opinion in favor of Plessy v. Ferguson.
Wow.
Separate. Yes, sir. And he's the mentor of Chief Justice John Roberts, who clerked for him as a young attorney right out of Harvard Law School. And the next Google is I oppose John Roberts because I recalled Roger Taney. That's I oppose John Roberts because I recalled Roger Taney. And this is an article on the internet in a circular called Baptist News Global. And it talks about how Chief Justice John Roberts, if you look at his rulings, they reflect the Taney court. So while Chief Justice Roberts sees a colorblind society, he doesn't understand that we as African Americans, we do not see that same colorblind society.
That's right.
And to close, I have a quote from that National Baptist Global. The bottom line is this: I will be voting against John Roberts' nomination. I do so with considerable reticence. I hope that I am wrong. I hope that he will recognize who the weak are and who the strong are in our society. I hope that his jurisprudence is one that stands up to the bullies of all ideological strife. Now, who gave this quote at the time of Chief Justice John Roberts' nomination?
Who gave
It was at that time Senator Barack Obama.
Wow.
Who became President Obama. And I hope that you could get a chance, Reverend Al, at some point to talk with President Obama and get his opinion as a Harvard-trained lawyer on the history and the rulings of Chief Justice John Roberts.
Well, you do
Thank you very much,
you do
Al.
great research, and I appreciate you sharing that. People on the message board is saying, "Yep, wow, thank you, Carlo." I'm back to twist out. Tricia saying people like information, and it is important. I ran into former President Obama last Saturday evening, and we're gonna get together in Washington. And he, don't forget, was a major law student, majored in law at Harvard University, and was the first black to be the publisher of the Harvard Law Journal. So he knows this stuff backwards. So when he, as a U.S. Senator from Illinois, before he became president, voted against Roberts, that's what he was talking about. Let me get ready to go to break. I'll come right back. It's more Exhale Friday. 1-877-532-5797, or you can go and send me a message on the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net, and of course go to live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net like Tricia does. Tricia said we need some oppo on Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, antebellum South Carolina roots, and his connection to this bailout money for Argentina. Yeah, we do need that, Tricia. I'm on it. You right. I am. I'm gonna see what we can dig up and get the right people to do some research. That's a very good suggestion. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
It's a slave house. It's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when, exactly. That was, exactly. The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. Wow. South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from, too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And where I knew Jesse was from James, I started Breadback.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But now.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
any statement. Whoa. You can question any statement I make, but you cannot call here and tell me don't question the statement you make, brother.
Brothers gonna work it out. Brothers gonna work it out.
Be a part of the conversation. Just keep it real. Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, keeping it real. It's XL Friday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Hey, live, Rev.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday, whatever's on your mind, whatever is in your heart. And Mayor Rodney Jones on the message board saying it's the height of hypocrisy to go to church and worship God on Sunday, and on Monday you are treating God's people with disdain and evil intentions. That will preach. That is absolutely, that's sermon material there, Mayor Rodney Jones. Let me go to the XL Live line. Disco Brain is on. Disco Brain, my man from Philly, WURD.
Rev, you called me Disco Brain.
I'm sorry, Disco Brian.
It's Disco Brian. I thought they had somebody else come. Yeah, okay. They misspelled it on the board. They got a lot Russian down there in Dallas. But go ahead. Now that's my brother. I said my member. That's my brother and friend. And I didn't support her there, Disco Brian.
Rev, I'm not sure how much we should be trusting regarding the brilliant gentleman who just spoke to you. I am not so sure how much we should be trusting popular white folks who claim to be pro-democracy, who worked on any of the Bush campaigns and haven't substantiated or articulated how they got from there to where they are now. Look, Tim Miller seems like a really nice guy and all, but anyway, let's move on. Rev, I want to thank you again for keeping your eye on how Bernie and his friends have been cozying up to the white right manosphere. As I think you know, I turned our discussion about that into a video called The Manosphere's Bernie Bromance, which is up on YouTube and is newly edited just in time for Halloween. It's not pleasant, but it's just real. I haven't.
What's the name of it?
Anything.
What is the name of it?
It's called The Manosphere's Bernie Bromance. And Rev, it's also on my website, which is democracy.fun. And have you seen it, Rev?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I made sure to frame it with the same love and moral clarity that you bring every day, exposing hypocrisy without losing hope. And so when I called on my birthday and you complimented my online work, I thought maybe you had seen it. But Rev, it's 7 minutes. It's got that Prince song "Hello" mashed up in there, and if you have time on the plane on your way to Chicago, I would treasure it if you could see it. But today, Rev.
No, I just wrote it down. I will see it this weekend. But go ahead.
Thank you, Rev. Today I just dropped a brand new one, also, and that one is called "Liquid Death and Living Truth." Kamala Harris, Zoran Mamdani, and the Clout Machine. It weaves Kamala's interview with Rachel Maddow together with clips of Mamdani and his friend Hassan Piker to show the difference between real public service and social media performance. And Rev, on Twitter, I even tagged Mamdani and invited him to come here. He's gone on a lot of shows and spent a lot of time with hosts all over the country who don't even live in New York, who he won't be serving, but he has yet to return any of Don Lemon's requests for interviews. And I don't know if you've sent the invite, but I did it for you on Twitter. I would love for him to join the Nan family on Keeping It Real, because I believe that's where the honest dialogue about justice and dignity really belongs. So, Rev, I am Disco Brian Davis on X. It's a tweet thread. You can find me there, and you can find that invitation. I tagged National Action Network as well as your.
But give me where your
brilliant
YouTube
daughter.
videos are under what?
My YouTube videos are the same as my name on the message board, which is thedemocracy.fun, and that's my YouTube channel. So Rev, if you could just let Dominique know, let your team know, these videos are waiting for you. And next time we talk, I would love to hear any feedback you have. And I want to say this, Rev. I am ready to do anything your team needs to fight the white right manosphere on social media. Okay?
I like it. All right, that's thedemocracy.fun.
Like the Beatles, like thedemocracy.fun.
Okay,
Yeah, like the.
I want it right. I'm going to have them download it so I can watch it on the plane. Thank you for your call.
I love you, Rev.
Thank you. Love you back. Thank you for your support. Have with me in the office today our special assistant as well as a minister. Have the gospel been around National Action Network for many years, since he was 11 or 12 years old. Reverend, I'm trying to remember Reverend Toon brought him around. Reverend Stephen Marshall is with us. Reverend Marshall, the whole idea that was just being talked about by Disco Bryan, you have done a lot of work in the electoral political field. The issue of what we define as progressive whites gets a little murky sometimes when it comes down to politics, because some of our progressive friends are allies with protests but not allies with political power. Talk about that.
I think, first of all, thank you for having me back. I think that's spot on. A lot of the, as you stated, the progressive protest action doesn't match with policy. And I think part of it is because some of those are not talking to the people who they are progressive in the name of. For instance, we have an incredible housing crisis all around the country. And we have a lot of activists in the name of progress in that field, but not really talking to the people that are living on their aunts and grandmothers' couches who are direct results of gentrification. So, the politics and the actual protests, they must be hand in hand for us to be authentic. And as you always raise the question, who are they progressive for? And how has that been polluted over time?
What is the state? You are barely 40 years old, and what in your generation is the state of the black church? As it relates to the social issues? We have this big documentary tonight on Andrew Young on MSNBC at 9 o'clock Central Time. 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Mm-hmm. And he was executive director of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and they named it Christian. It was a black church. Dr. King founded it. Reverend Wyatt T. Walker, who was the first chairman of the board of National Action Network when we started in '91, had been the executive director before Andrew Young in the '60s. So we know what that generation did. My generation, then you go to Reverend Jackson, mm-hmm. Then my generation coming up under Reverend Jackson, and some of us that are now in the 55 to 75 generation. What about your generation, the 35 to 55 generation? Where's the black church? And when I say black church, I'm talking about black clergy mm-hmm. in that age group. I don't see too many that are really out there. Nah, Am I missing something?
Nah, it is a very telling but sobering reality around the question. I think we've seen all of what your generation and those before you have done. I think there has been a drop of the spiritual mantle. And what I mean by that is that there has never been a movement, and obviously I'm a student of it, 40 years old. I wasn't born during the times of the height of all of what you guys fought for, but I know that there has not been a carrying of that same mantle with urgency. I think we've seen a resurgence of black clergymen and women taken on during the early time of 2020 when George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. That was a flash, but I think most of our preachers of today are stuck behind a camera and a microphone. Everybody has a podcast, but nobody has a ministry, as it relates to what you have referred to in the question. I think it's sad. I think the opportunity is still there, but we need to strap up our boots. We have a few people, but it's not a unified front. And
you mentioned George Floyd. We had a tremendous movement around George Floyd, tremendous movement around Trayvon Martin, but like you said, we'd see some cameo appearances by some of the younger pastors. They're not that young, but no real stay with it, no real let's build something, no real organizing, just some cameo appearance and showmanship. They were more interested in how they appeared, dress-wise and all of that. I don't know if the generation of the prosperity preaching distorted it, where we became more self-indulgent than community empowering. Let's talk about that. Exhale Friday, I'm coming to you on the phones, talking with me and Reverend Stephen Marshall joining me. Keeping it real, Sharpton. Be right back.
I want to present to you a man of God, a man of his community, the Reverend Howard Hundley. Together. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last always. I'm so glad. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last always. Can I get a witness? I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the national director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah, she.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is.
You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
Rev, you know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. We've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
You live, Rev?
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday. Reverend Stephen Marshall, Senior Advisor to President Nance, sitting in with me for a segment or two. Trisha's writing on the message board so they can find Stacey Abrams' organization, but they have no smoke for Elon, who was giving away $1 million checks for votes, and she's answering that to Leslie Jennings. And you know, Reverend Marshall, Elon Musk in the Pennsylvania primary was literally paying people to vote, yet they're going to try to come back on Stacey Abrams and her get out the vote operation and voting reform operation. It is blatant.
Yes, sir. There is absolutely, first 10 months of this presidency, zero regard for the Constitution. That's the most simple and best way I can put it.
Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton, Cincinnati, from Cincinnati on the Buzz.
Yes, sir, Rev. Thanks for taking my call. Rev, before I get to John Bolton, Tish James, and James Comey, I heard this morning where those bombs been out in Venezuela in the ocean, Trump was kind of like bombing them, thinking they were drug smugglers.
Yeah, from Venezuela.
Yeah, I think the head of that guy was a black guy, and
He
I guess
resigned.
his conscience got the best of him.
Yeah, he quit.
And he quit. His conscience got the best of him. But Rev, you said something earlier, and I was thinking the same thing when they were running off these charges against Bolton. I'm like, Trump was charged with the same thing.
Yeah.
What's different? What a bunch of hypocrites. But this is what I don't understand. You got Tish James and James Comey. Let's just focus on those two. And you can throw Bolton in there. But they were indicted by a grand jury. And I don't like this grand jury system because the prosecutor goes in there, gives them all the evidence. Hey, yeah, we should convict. And there's no one in there saying, here's the evidence why not to convict.
Yeah, what people don't know, hold it right there, Ray, because it's very important. Grand juries only hear the prosecutor. The defense attorneys nor the defendants are allowed in the grand jury. So they get a one-sided view saying we have evidence that Joe Blow did A, B, C, D. Here is a picture, and we're going to argue in court he did it. And they only need a majority of the grand jury. It doesn't even have to be unanimous to say, all right, the picture's enough, indict him. That's all an indictment is. You don't get to hear from the opposition or the defense attorney or people until the trial. By then, you're already indicted and disgraced and having to raise money for lawyers and all of that.
And I think that's what Trump wants, because if they had done something wrong, Tish James and James Comey would have been indicted along. James Comey would have been indicted under Trump's Department of Justice. So it's just now we don't know, because I think in the grand jury, I heard this a long time ago. Is there something like 30 or 40 people in there, and then majority gets to say if they're indicted or not.
Right.
Because I know it's not 12.
Right. No, it's more than 12. I think it is somewhere between 25 to 40. Do you know, Rev Marshall?
Yeah, 25 to 40 is what I heard.
Right.
Okay, and if they think that they're going to get 12 jurors to convict Tish James or James Comey or even Bolton, they're sadly mistaken. But I don't even think Trump cares. As long as they are humiliated like they humiliated Trump, he can sleep good at night. To him, that's a victory for him. You know, to everybody else, that's just time wasted. Lawyers, they have to spend their money on lawyers. But that's just my opinion. It's just Trump. He's just doing it. And what bothers me is the Supreme Court. They sit at home, and I'm sure they watch TV, and they know what he's doing, but they just don't seem to care. And on what's the black guy Supreme Court justice?
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. I think on his deathbed, he will still vote for the Republicans against voting rights and civil rights on his deathbed. He's a disgrace. I'm surprised his family even still talks to him. Thanks, Rev.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me go to Rufus in Savannah, Georgia. Rufus, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on Exhale Friday.
Yeah, the last caller, you can assure him that the last caller, Clarence Thomas' family don't rock with him at all. Period. Yeah, you can assure him. He said he'd be surprised. He ain't got to be surprised. I know him. I know the family. I told you I spent some time with his nephew, and as a matter of fact, I saw that little piece you have on your little commercial, and it's funny how me and you didn't cross paths a whole lot of times, and it's how small the world is. I told you the first time I met you was at Aretha Franklin in a Four Tops concert in Manhattan. You know, that's the first time I met you, and I was I think I was around 81, 82.
Okay.
And you were, fighting for the jobs, with the, and stuff for the young people. And I saw that little commercial you was doing in Edgefield, and I spent a little time in the federal joint, and I was in the federal joint in Edgefield, South Carolina.
That's where my great grandfather was a slave.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And I said, well, it's funny how things. How paths can cross, and you never know. And I say that like I said, I first met you and kind of became acquainted with you in New York. In New York, I was living in Harlem at the time. That was in the early '80s, and I met you in New York at that time. You were at the Aretha Franklin concert. But like I said, then I saw you doing the Edgefield thing. I said, I did a little stint down there in. I don't know if you ever rode by that little joint they got down there. They got a federal prison down there in Edgefield. And I think they built it in 93 or 95 or something like that. And and I was thinking, well, dog, I say you got ties to to Edgefield, and I was there. And James Brown was always been one of my favorite heroes from when I was a little kid.
Right.
And we used to watch him at the movies. A lot of people don't know that you used to have commercials at the movie, and you go to the movie, and then in the intermission, the Star Theater in Savannah, Georgia, it always be James Brown.
Yeah, well, a lot of people miss those roots, Rufus, and those are the roots that made us strong, which is why I believe and I know we can get through this. Thank you for your call. Reverend Marshall, as we deal with the Andrew Young documentary tonight and Politics Nation over the weekend, let me take the break. I want to raise a question to you. Keeping it real. Exhale Friday. Be right back.
Thank you. Well, they said that we couldn't do it, but all the world can see that when we come together when we rise above our differences, we can come and show an effort that no one can stop. Let us first salute Minister Louis Farrakhan for making a call that reached all of us and has shaken the world. Let me say this. When we hear the word today, when we leave here this evening, we are not leaving having had just a rally. We're going home to do some work. You think you see a crowd now, wait till we go home and get our sisters. You think you've seen something now, wait till we go home and get our mothers. The political story of 94 was the angry white man voted in a new Congress. Well, get ready, America, for the story of 96, when the enlightened black man brings in a new Congress. It's time for Mr. Gingrich and the angry white man who are angry at the wrong people. We are doubly unemployed. Why are you angry at us? Our icons are being demoralized. Why are you angry at us? So let the angry white man meet the enlightened black man that will join hands with other enlightened people and bring us another way. In '63, we had to march across the Red Sea, Reverend Wilson. Well, in '95, we are headed to the Jordan. We don't have to backtrack. We can go forward. And why are you so surprised we're here? Did you think that we would continue to watch our images put down? Look at what they did to people from Michael Jackson all the way across the board. That just because they were people of color were desecrated and demoralized. Well, now if we've learned, if we hold each other's hands, we can take care of our own Michael Jacksons. We can take care of our own young men. You see the brothers here, but what about the hundreds of thousands behind bars that couldn't come here? We got to stand up and free them too. OJ is home, but Mumi Abu Jamal ain't home. And we won't stop till all of our people that need a chance in an awkward and unbalanced criminal justice system can come home. I end by saying this. 1988, there was a preacher that ran for president named Pat Robertson. He got 2 million votes. There were those young people and ministers and others that took those 2 million votes and in 94 took America. Well, in 88, Jesse Jackson got 7 million votes. And his younger brothers and younger cousins can transform that with the energy given and mobilization given by Minister Farrakhan and others in leadership. And we can change 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96. We can straighten out tricks in 96 if we come alive in 95. So we join the minister. We join black men and black women and our leaders all over America saying, stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been shackled, but stand up, black man. I know it's hard to stand when you've been beaten and bruised, but stand up, black man. Let your children, let your daughters, let them all over the world see us stand up together. We all live on one block. We may have different houses, but it's all the same block. Elijah Muhammad's house is on that block. Martin Luther King's house is on that block. Malana Karanga's house is on that block. But let me tell you something, when you set the block on fire, I don't have time to look at other houses' videos. It's time for all of us to come out together and save the block of black folk in America. Some of us will stand up and fight. Some of us won't switch. Some of us won't buckle or bow. As James Brown said, some of us rather die on our feet than live on our knees. Thank you and God bless you.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Reverend Stephen Marshall here at NAN Corporate, one of our long-standing young members and coming to his own now as a special advisor to me as president of NAN. Let me ask you this, Reverend Marshall. I think that when you look at it in a historic perspective, as I was talking about generations, the 2 or 3 before me and then after, your generation and those after you, one of the things I think we have to remember is we never started having blacks in significant positions of power until about a generation and a half ago, where Andrew Young, Jesse Jackson, John Lewis generation, they the ones that stopped putting members of Congress in. Before that, you only had 2, William Dawson from Chicago, Adam Clayton Powell Jr. from New York. They were the ones that started black mayors in the late 70s, Maynard Jackson in Atlanta, Coleman Young, Detroit, Harold Washington, early 80s in Chicago, Tom Bradley, L.A. So I think that we're only 2 or 3 generations at most in positions of political power and black economic power just in the last 50 years, where we have black billionaires and all. So at one level, it is annoying and disappointing. At another level, we didn't have the grandparents and the great-grandparents to raise us and give us hints on what to do because they were not allowed to have anything. But I think that now I say that to say I understand where we are. But I also say it to say, but now that we are 2 or 3 generations in, we need to now know how to be the black mayor and take care of our community and others, how to be the black congressman to take care of our community and others, because this is not new now. We've been there 40, 50 years, and people say, well, that's old school. Well, I don't know what new school's supposed to be. The most celebrated school in the United States is Harvard, and it's over 200 years old. When I go to England to lecture, I go to Oxford, it's over more than 300 years old. Everybody gleans from their past to learn the mistakes that they don't repeat. We're the only ones that's been tricked into having to redo it and reinvent it every generation, which is just not only unwise, it's non-productive because you keep cutting off the tree from the roots every generation.
I think that's, you said a lot right there. I think what stood out to me the most was you said learn. And I think there's another L word that have prevented us from being as successful as those before us based on their sacrifice is being lazy. If you're too lazy enough to even understand and appreciate that struggle and not forget how to struggle while you progress, then that is the problem, I think, with my generation. We are what you've described as the microwave generation. We just want things to happen without taking the time to find out what was paid and what we must protect, including institutions like the Black church, from the pulpit to the ballot, we have just, I think, have a spirit and a season of laziness and not really willing to pay the price to preserve what so many before us died for, not even fought for, but died.
Let's go to Ben in Seattle, Washington. Ben, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Oh. Yeah, Reverend Sharpton, this you?
Yes.
Yeah, this Henry. How you doing?
I'm all right.
What I want to talk to you about, I turn the radio down because I'm listening to you and talking to you at the same time. What I want to get an understanding about is the justices on the Supreme Court. I really want to talk about that real bad.
All right.
Clarence Thomas. We know for a fact that Clarence Thomas have did some illegal activities since he's been on the court. John Roberts, too. And Toledo, from what I've seen in the news. So basically what I want to see is the Voting Rights Act is part of the Constitution, and I'm correct?
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, if these justices go against the Constitution, that means they don't no longer need to be on the court.
I agree.
To, pretty much be impeached. I know we can't do anything right now because the Republicans is holding all the cards. But at the same time, they're not going to be in power forever, ain't I correct?
You are correct. No doubt about it.
And so we need to try to do what we can do to get these guys off the court as soon as possible.
Yep.
John Roberts, I was hearing earlier about what you were saying about Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama. When he was senator, he voted against having John Roberts put on the court. I want to ask you this question. Who appointed John Roberts to the court anyway? I'm trying to think. What president was that?
When Roberts went on?
Yeah, John Roberts.
Yeah.
It was George W. Bush, wasn't it?
I know it wasn't Obama. It would have had to been Bush.
No, Obama didn't put him on the court.
Yeah, it had to be Bush.
So Bush was the one that put him on the court.
Right.
John Roberts. John Roberts was the main one he the one gutted the Voting Rights Act, am I correct?
Yeah, it was his court. That's correct.
Okay, so we're looking at a serious time here then. So they supposed to voted on this thing not too long ago. What happened? They paused it or something?
Yeah, they paused it because they can't get enough votes to go their way, so they're playing a lot of tricks.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yep, that's what it was.
Well, that's good then.
Well, I think that the problem, though, is that it holds up a lot of people. I think that while they're playing politics like they are with this government shutdown, it causes pain for a lot of people. But yeah, I checked myself on Google. John Roberts was appointed by George W. Bush in 2005. So we were right. It was Bush.
I don't even know why President Bush put him on the court, but, it's a strange thing what they done done. I do know that George Herbert Walker Bush was the one that appointed Clarence Thomas to the court in 91.
Yeah, his father. That's George Bush's daddy, yeah. H.W. Bush,
I watched
that's
the hearing
correct.
between when Anita Hill came out and said that, Clarence Thomas sexual harassed her during the time that she worked for him. And so, this is real serious right here. So I'm glad I got you on the I finally I'm glad I appreciate that I got a chance to talk to you. Another thing that bothered me then, I'm gonna let you go out to this, Reverend Sharpton. What I'm really, really nervous about is slavery again. And I think hopefully maybe you need to talk about that a little bit more because I tell you, it looked like that if Trump have his way here, it seems like that probably can go. Well, I don't think he'll be able to do it, but it's just like we're not getting a lot of respect around here right now.
Well, he's gonna try whatever he can. He's gonna try whatever he can. No question in my mind about that.
Yeah, I was talking to you know Carl Mack, don't you?
Yeah.
Carl Mack was the president of NAACP up here in Seattle.
I was
talking to Carl Mack on the radio, and we was talking about it. Yeah, man, that scares me more than anything because that and him talking about he gonna count some mail-in ballots. Now I want to ask you, do he have the power to do that too?
If he gets the state authority, he can. That's why we need to get out there and get the right people in. But thank you for your call. Let me. I cannot hold other callers. I think I was on with you about 10 minutes. He reminded me of my cousin sitting in the back porch. I go down to Alabama. Let's go to Alicia. Let me stay here in Seattle. Alicia, you keep it real with Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I was calling to talk about an article that I read online, and they said that they were going to pay immigrants because of ICE, because they can't go to work, they're scared to come out their house, and they got, I don't know if you saw it or not, but they're going to start paying their rent, paying their mortgages, and making sure that they get through this thing with ICE because they're scared to go to work.
Who is going to pay it? Wait a minute, I've never heard this. Who's going to pay it? What article? Who's going to pay it?
I guess the government. It was on Smart News.
No, the government
on my
ain't.
phone.
No, the government can't be saying they're going to pay it when they the ones that's after the immigrants. Why would they be paying it? That article's got to be incorrect. No, that's got to be wrong.
I know what I read. But,
I didn't say you didn't read it. I'm saying that it's got to be wrong information.
But if it's true.
But why are we going to talk? Wait, Alicia, I'm not going to go with if it's true. I'm telling you it is not true. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. This government is trying to get the immigrants out. They're even miscasting people as immigrants that are not immigrants. They're not paying immigrants. They're accusing the Democrats of giving health care to illegal immigrants. They're not trying to do anything like that. So there's no reason to even distort it or discuss it online. And somebody said, I heard on Al Sharpton show this is what they're doing, because they're not doing that. That's not happening. Thank you for your call. I think one of the things, Reverend, is that research and facts are important. Too many people jump on the air and let conspiracy theories go. All right, let me take my break. Thank you, Reverend Marshall. We're going to take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Knew love like this before, 'cause I never knew love like this before.
Sounds so good. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I am humbled and grateful to be here with you tonight. I love you too. I love you too. It seems like I've known Reverend Al Sharpton all my life. My mom was such a fan of his, and I've seen him through my life in LA at MCA Records. When I was there, he'd come through, you know, and get those people straight about our contracts and talk about that. And I haven't been honored a lot. Maybe this is my second time, and I'm 68 years old. And I've been in this business my entire life. I've never done what you would call a real job. But I am truly honored, and I'm thankful, and I love us. I love my black people. And I fight for us, and I want the women, the black women, to really know their worth. Know that they're queens. That's important to me. That's how my mother raised me. My mother was militant, I guess, when it wasn't trendy, yes. Because when I was a little girl, my mother and father would drive in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die. And when she would see police officers handling black children or a black boy or a girl, father stop and say, she'd get out of the car and she'd say, "What's going on here? Wait a minute. What you doing?" All the time. So it's natural that I'm that way, because I'm so tired of seeing our black men beaten with handcuffs. They have handcuffs on. That's important to me. That's my fight. I want love in this world. We're living in some, I love you, I love you. I never knew love like this before. I can't sing because we just finished doing 3 shows back to back. And I flew in this morning, and because Reverend Al wanted me to sing home. There's no way I could sing home, but okay. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes us tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the sea makes it all clean. But thank you. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I love you. I love you with my life.
Stephanie Mills.
The fact of the matter is, Rosa Parks was not only the mother of the modern civil rights movement, she was the mother of this nation. Why would you say that, Sharpton? Because you called George Washington the father of the nation, but when he became father, we wasn't included in the nation. Women were not included in the nation. The first time we had a parent in this nation is when all of us was included, and Rosa Parks did that on December 1st, 1955. I heard somebody say Jim Crow is who she fought, and Jim Crow is still around. But Jim Crow is old. That's not who I'm mindful of today. The problem is Jim Crow has sons. The one we got to battle is James Crow Jr. Esquire. He's a little more educated. He's a little slicker. He's a little more polished. But the results are the same. He doesn't put you in the back of the bus. He just puts referendums on the ballot to end affirmative action when you can't go to school. He doesn't call you a racial name. He just marginalizes your existence. He doesn't tell you that he's set against you. He sets up institutional racism, where you have a nation respond looking for weapons in Iraq that are not there, but can't see a hurricane in Louisiana that is there. James Crow Jr. Esquire. That's who we got to fight. And if we are to win, if we are to really memorialize Rosa Parks, she would tell us to do in the generation of his son what she and Dr. King did to his daddy. They didn't talk a fight, they fought the fight. They didn't show up at funerals, they showed up on the picket line and the march line and the jailhouse. It amazes me that we sit here acting like we don't have work to do. And that many of us in our own community are mocking her memory. They formed a movement when they had none of what we got. You realize that Dr. King and Dr. Abernathy and them formed a boycott after Rosa Parks, where people stayed off the bus for a year, went to rallies every night, and they never had email, never had a cell phone, never could go online. Here you got 2 cell phones in your pocket, emails, computers at the house, and can't even get a block association meeting together. We got so much more that they gave us, and we're doing so much less with it. They went to vote when people were threatening their lives.
I am your
Mac
host.
Evans was shot dead in his driveway. Left 3 children inside that never knew how.
1-877-532-5797. We are joined for the last hour of the week. Every week, we are joined by the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church of Detroit, Michigan, head of national expansion and Michigan State chair of National Action Network, Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend?
How you doing, Reverend? It's always good to be with you. I tell you, what a week, what a week. We've seen so much, we've heard so much. This week as I exhale, I really spend just a few seconds really just thinking about and lifting up your friend who the this movement. And so, for those who sit on the sideline and have not decided to get involved and have not decided to do the work, I can't tell you enough how important it is to get involved and link in with organizations like National Action Network and others. Do something that's going to help make a difference in this world and this country. Brother Dwight did it, and certainly you have done it in my life, and others have done it because of those seeds sown. This is the work that I'll be lifting up, and the names that I will be lifting up 30 years from now, 40 years from now, when I'm 84 years old. So I just lift his name up, appreciate his work and his support, and certainly employ and engage all of you all. Get up, get into it, and get involved.
All right, thank you for that. And certainly Dwight and I went back, as I said, 60 years, and 50 years, I'm sorry, to 75, and was not only my co-warrior and trusted advisor, but my best friend in the world. And even though he'd been sick and hospitalized for a year, I just can't get over that he's really gone. Let's go to the phones and exhale Friday. Let's go to Terry in Champaign, Illinois. Terry.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
And I echo your thoughts about Mr. McKee. I would listen to him all the time on Santita's station.
Yeah, he was off and on. Yeah.
You and him remind me of each other with those thoughts, those deep thoughts, and I like hearing those deep thoughts.
Yeah, he was brilliant man.
He was a brilliant man. Oh, the reason why I called today was because I like what you did when she put out that disinformation about where she heard that immigrants are getting money. I think that's been our biggest problem. People keep going to listen to online news, Fox News, Sky News, anything that Rupert Murdoch put out. Even when he tries to do the New York Times, everything is just so twisted. You gotta really research for the right answer. You just can't go with thinking immigrants are getting earned benefits when they don't. A lot of people keep thinking that, and a lot of people, to me, Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Williams, what they fail to realize, the immigrants were paying on our earned benefits. They didn't receive them; they paid taxes, and that story never gets out there. Yeah, they were working for their citizenship, but while working for their citizenship, they're paying for your Social Security. You're paying for your SNAP. They're paying for all that, your health care. But they wasn't receiving anything. And also, I would like to say this before I go, because I know you got callers. If people would, like I said, get off the disinformation, it shouldn't be a state that Trump would win. It shouldn't be not one. He should lose all 50 states. If they get off their hate and their anger and all this disinformation, because black people are not your problem. The person who's the problem is the person that's sitting in the White House and the people around them, the GOP. That's the problem. If people would just, like I said, he shouldn't even win 50 states at the rate we're going. And if everyone gets smart and get together, we can stop this. Because this should be the first time where a man don't even win. He shouldn't even win half the states. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you for your call, Terry. On the message board, Leslie Jennings is saying, Calvin Ferguson, salute to the Detroit group that marched on Wall Street August 28th, 2025. And I certainly salute that. And that's like just 5 weeks ago. Then many of us are going out supporting the No More Kings marches tomorrow. Many of them supported us when we marched thousands on Wall Street. And one of the things, Reverend Williams, with this special coming on tonight on the documentary on Andrew Young, and we did the little tease of it with the fireside chat with Rachel Maddow and Andrew Young and I in Atlanta on night before last, Monday night, and as well as John Hope Bryan, who put it together, Operation Hope. One of the things I hope people see in this documentary is that without publicizing, making a public display of our outrage, ain't nothing gonna happen. One of the things throughout my career is that I was always accused of trying to get media, and I was trained to get media by the movement. That and Andrew Young talked about that in this documentary. That's what Dr. King said. We need to get the media attention on what's going on in Montgomery, in Birmingham, in wherever they were. Any activist that cannot get media attention on the pain and plight of the people is an incompetent activist. So I've been involved with Ben Crump, say, since 2006, right? So it's about 20 years. And one of the reasons he wants NAN to come in is we provide resources for the family and a national spotlight. Because nobody, and I said this in my eulogy of George Floyd, nobody calls me to keep a secret. They call me to bring media attention. Because when you put attention on stuff, you make people have to deal with it. As long as people can keep things quiet and under the rug, no change comes. Why do you think Trump is available to the press every day? Because he wants to keep his stuff out there. And these so-called, I don't know what you want to call them, that come out critiquing, why are y'all always in the media? Because we got something the media needs to be discussing, that's why.
We got stuff that needs to be discussed, but more importantly, nobody believes us until we get the media. Look, let's just be quite frank and honest. The folks in Flint had dealt with the water for a whole year before we came into Flint and started putting media coverage over it. Good, bad, and different. Too shocked, too much, not enough, whatever. When we put the media coverage on it, it changed the landscape of Flint. Next thing you know, everybody and their mama was sending bottled water to Flint. Same thing when it came to emergency management in Michigan. Same thing when it came to water shutoffs in Detroit. Same thing when it came to right to work when the governor cut it off in Michigan. I mean, nobody calls us to keep a secret. Same thing when it comes to many of the police brutality cases that we have fought in Detroit. And before it got too far out there, they hurried up and prosecuted the police, or they hurried up and settled with the family and prosecuted with the police before it became too far of a national issue. That's the work that we do. And that's the work that we're going to continue to do. That's the reason why I tell people this is the King tradition. I ain't in nobody else's tradition. I'm not in the mic check tradition. I'm not in the leaderless organic movement tradition. I'm in the very purposeful, thought out, religious, moral leadership tradition that gets the opportunity or that pulls the media together to make sure that they understand what the issue is for the folks who we're fighting for in our communities. That's what we do, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
And see, I think it is so important, what you just said, for people to understand what tradition they come out of, where they're grounded in. I quote all the time in my morning thoughts I do on Instagram, Howard Thurman said, "It is a strange freedom to be adrift in a world of men that has no sense of being anchored to anything. No way you anchor. Now, there are other strains of thought, and they are good. All of us have different lanes on the same highway. But I know where I am. I'm not with other lanes, and I can work with them. But if I'm grounded and rooted and anchored, let me be what I am, and that's what I am. Others, there always been other organizations. You had Martin and Malcolm and the Panthers after all at the same time, different schools of thoughts, but the same objective. And I think when people don't know who they are, they try to become all men to all. They try to be all things to all men and end up being nothing to nobody. Let's take a break. I'm coming back, going back to the phones. It's Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton Williams, keeping it real. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots die for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow his laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much. Thank you for coming by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Thank you for being here tonight.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, He never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world.
Reverend Williams, we've been talking a lot about the New York race with Zoran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo. There's a mayor's race going on in Detroit. There are people being speculated out of Michigan to be running for president. Give us a snapshot of what's going on with both.
Well, I tell you what, we are looking, this is shout out and kudos to Mary Sheffield and Solomon Kinlock. They faced off on, I think it was 2 days ago, on the debate stage. And right now, the word is on the street as well as the word is on the score for the debate that Mary Sheffield looks like she's locked and ready, and she looks like she has a considerable amount of expertise. But that doesn't cancel out Solomon Kinlock. I think there's just, he hasn't been canceled out. He does have a considerable congregation. He does have a considerable operation that's getting throughout the community. But I got to tell you, if I had to, I'm not a betting man because, we don't do that. But I would say that I think Mary Sheffield is looking at the mayor's seat in January of next year.
And give us what we're hearing. Your governor may run for president. We're hearing all kinds of things, and then gubernatorial race, your lieutenant governor. Give us the statewide perspective, because people around the country need to know that, some of the times I get on my New York staff that people in Jersey ain't into the mayor's race like you are, because it ain't their mayor. So I'd like to give a sense of where we are nationally, since this is a national audience.
I can tell you many people have, it's very interesting, Rev. Gretchen Whitmer has captured the imagination.
Gretchen Whitmer was the former governor. Is she president or former?
She's currently Gretchen Whitmer, who's currently the governor now here in Michigan.
Right.
She has captured the imagination of, I think, a cross section that nobody right now on the scene has. If you remember last year or earlier this year, when Donald Trump took office, she was one of the first governors that went to go meet with Donald Trump. She met with Donald Trump, was able to extract some benefit from Donald Trump, while at the same time she has still been critical of Donald Trump. And then at the same time, Donald Trump did issue her some kudos. And so a lot of folks nationally are looking at, wait a minute, is this Gretchen Whitmer, could this be somebody from the left who could potentially play to an audience that some people consider to Make America Great, or the MAGA audience, or those from Middle America? It'd be very interesting to see, while at the same time we see her possibly ascend to be a national Democratic presidential candidate. The current mayor of the city of Detroit is making an independent run for the governor, while at the same time we're losing a U.S. senator, and we have a Muslim American man by the name of Abdul Sayed. You talked to him, I believe, last week last week on MSNBC Morning Joe, who's making a run for the U.S. Senate. Very popular name. A man with a heck of a lot of energy. And then we see African American who is the Garland Gilchrist, who is the lieutenant governor for Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who is also making a run for the governor of the state of Michigan. So we've got some very interesting statewide politics that are leaching right into the national scene the next year. Because as you well know, what happens with these seats will make a tremendous difference about who's going to have the leverage in the U.S. Senate next year, as well as the U.S. House, and including a couple of the seats from around the state of Michigan that we cannot lose because of the tight U.S. House race that we'll be looking at for the midterm. So it will mean is that there is some double down work that we're gonna have to do in the Michigan area. That's the reason why we are already lifting off here effort, voter registration, education, empowerment effort between now through this mayoral election all the way up throughout next year, because we've got to make sure Benton Harbor, Flint, Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan, Western Wayne County, Detroit, Michigan. And for those of you across the country who may not know, these are all the black areas across the state of Michigan. They got to come out strong. And that's what we got to do across the country. Every state that has pockets of black cities and towns, we got to get in there. We got to lift that vote like we've never lifted it before, because there's going to be some candidates that we got to get over the hill so that we can try to figure out every way possible to take this Congress back and take this Senate back. We can be mad at Donald Trump all day long. I keep saying it. But if we give him that Congress next year, shame on us. Period. If we let him take that Congress in local places in Houston, new places like Houston and Dallas, where there's tons of black people, and suburbs all over suburbs all over Texas, and
as
in
a
North
result,
Carolina.
of the movement, and because you couldn't be in them suburbs if it wasn't people like Andy Young and
That's right.
Dr. King.
That's right.
And so let's not act like you wasn't invited out there. We forced the issue. Let's go to Geralda in Brooklyn, New York. Geralda.
Yes, hello. Keeping it real. This is Geralda. I just want to comment quickly on the mayoral debate last night. I didn't watch it, but the thing is that we have to realize that the last mayor did his job, and I feel everyone who lived in New York City in the 60s until now should still support him. He's still on the ballot. I don't think he should endorse anyone. The fact is he was pushed out of this mayor election on purpose, which is unfair. He did his job. And I don't think these other candidates going to do what he's done. I think they're going to come and sabotage what he had produced, him and his team. But I'm going to get away from that. The man that called about the media, he's absolutely right. Also, the migrants, they contribute taxes to help with medical care and so on and so forth here, and it's unfair also that they cannot get medical care when it's needed. And that's all for today. Y'all have a great day.
All right,
have a great
well,
weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you for your call. Let me take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. XL Friday. Sharpton. William. Be right back.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives. It is more difficult when someone uses those gifts
in ways that enhances humanity. Aretha Franklin was given special gifts, but she used it in a special way. And she would not want us to celebrate her without talking about she stood for something. She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end. I first met Miss Franklin when I was a teenager. I'd become youth director of New York Operation Breadbasket, and she would come to the strategy meetings with Reverend Jackson. And I would hear the stories of how when Dr. Martin Luther King couldn't make payroll, Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin went on an 11-city tour to raise money for Martin Luther King. A lot of artists hang up Dr. King's photo, but Aretha went and raised money and gave it and worked free. Her daddy marched with Dr. King, and she never stopped supporting. As the years went by and I developed National Action Network, and she would call my radio show and have me come to her affairs. She called me one day. She said, "Mal, I want to send you something." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "What's your home address?" And she sent it. About 3 days later, I got a check made out National Action Network signed by Aretha Franklin. I saw about a month later, I said, "You know, I was so blown away. I grew up looking up to you that I framed that check." She said, "Boy, don't you have a copy machine?" She said, "You don't know how I am with my bank accounts. You better cash that check." And but all of her life, she supported the causes. She was a feminist before feminism was popular. She was a civil rights activist when it wasn't popular. She gave us pride, and she gave us a regal bar to reach. And that's why we're all here. We don't all agree on everything, but we agree on Aretha. And she fought for everybody. I remember when we were used to picket, Charles Williams and all of us jumping on the record industry, she said, "Now y'all leave Clive Davis alone. He's one of the good ones." She loved Clive and said, "We got to remember what happened to the Irish and what happened to Jews and what happened to blacks." And that is why we remember her legacy, because she sang a song for all of us. She was the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. If you track where we are, you can follow where Aretha had us. That's why when I look at her and James Brown, whose daughter is here, and others who paid a price, that opened the door, but never forgot where they came from. She was rooted in the black church. She was bathed in the black church. And she took the black church downtown and made folks that didn't know what the Holy Ghost was shout in the middle of a concert. You never saw her perform without her doing gospel, because she never was one to forget where she came from. And that's why we give her this great homegoing. We thank her for what she did with Dr. King. We thank her for what she's done with Reverend Jackson. We thank her for what she's done with all of us. And that is why, you know, the other Sunday on my show, I misspelled respect. And a lot of y'all corrected me. Now I want y'all to help me correct President Trump to teach him what it means.
And I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us. Retha never took orders from nobody but God. So Retha, as you get your rest, my mother passed about 6 years ago. President Clinton, my mother and I had a deal. She said, I'll meet you on the other side. You live the way you're supposed to, and I'll see you in heaven. I said, well, Ma, they tell me there's no bodies in heaven, just spirits. How am I going to know you? I know her son is
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And let me say again, by way of announcements, don't miss. You really don't want to miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend. And I have been working the phones. I can tell you that over this weekend, we're going to have some of members of the U.S. Senate giving the latest updates on what's going on with the shutdown. There are meetings going on now. Whether they materialize into anything or not, we will see. We're going to have several of the senators, some that are dealing also in dealing with the crisis of deportation and ICE. Members of the Black Caucus will be on. I'm also going to have on the minister in Chicago that was arrested for trying to serve communion to those in the deportation center there in Chicago. I'm going to have on Larry Dowling. I'm going to also have on some of the organizers of the No Kings March. So you don't want to miss either day, Saturday or Sunday, on MSNBC, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area, meet me or beat me in the morning in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue for the Saturday Action Rally, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll be there looking for you. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of follow-up to our march and to what is going on. From the march on Wall Street to the Congressional Black Caucus, we need to be working. You in Atlanta area, don't forget that tomorrow morning from 10 until 11:30, from 10 to 11:30, there will be a relaunch meeting of the Atlanta chapter of National Action Network at our National Action Network Southeast Regional offices, which is at 632 People Street, Southwest in Atlanta. And you can call to get information from Miss Edith at area code 678-732-0405, 678-732-0405. I was there at the Southeast Regional Office this week when I went to Atlanta to moderate the fireside chat with Andrew Young and Rachel Maddow. And while I was going in the office, the lady said, I used to be involved, Reverend. I need to get involved again. I said, 10 o'clock Saturday, be here and meet with those that want to put that chapter together. Very, very, very important. Reverend Williams, what's going on with Nan in Detroit?
Join us tomorrow, 10 a.m., Saturday Action Rally, National Action Network. We've got some reports coming from our political director, Sam Riddle, as well as education. But more importantly, I want folks to come because we're organizing Voter Empowerment Summit on October 30th. I want you to make sure you're there so you can get the information and that you are a part of it as we get ready to cross over into this mayoral election leading into next year's election. All of these matter. So I'm calling on all the folks across the state to join us Saturday, 10 a.m. at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 6100 14th Street.
All right, let's go to the great city of Cleveland, Ohio, with the irrepressible, irreplaceable president of the Greater Cleveland chapter of National Action Network, Dr. Marcia McCoy. Dr. McCoy.
Yes, sir, to our honorable, illustrious, and esteemed Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton and our executive director in the Midwest region. We love you, Reverend Charles Williams. You already know that. The second, I just want you to know that the Tony Awards winning Broadway show Hell's Kitchen is here in Cleveland, Ohio.
All right.
And it will be here until November the 1st. And boy, is it on fire. It's a hit. So kudos to keeping it Dominique Sharpton for a job well done. We got a busload coming here. And tell Dominique she owe me some royalties because I have to cook.
Ah.
They want to stop at my house before they get. I said, a busload? No. But anyway, I'm just so grateful and thankful to be a part of National Action Network, National Action Network family. But I simply want to say you better get your ticket now because it's been a sold-out show just about every night. So come on, and it's a mixed crowd.
Great. That's great.
Come on, Bishop.
That's
I'm
great.
sorry. I better stop talking about that. Come on, Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Reverend.
One of the most vicious and egregious outright lies that convicted felon President Donald Trump swore to the people was that he knew nothing about Project 2025. That's the first of his 35,000 lies. Now it has become crystal clear that he not only knew about it, but he planned to implement it into his presidency. 2025 mandate stipulated complete elimination of DEI-related initiatives, training, and offices within the federal government, eliminating DEI terminology, abolishing DEI positions, weaponizing civil rights enforcement, specifically the Department of Justice, by prosecuting organizations with DEI programs, weaponizing the federal government, ending EEO-1 data collection which represents racial and ethnic demographics, targeting contractors that promote DEI concepts, challenging corporate and non-corporate DEI, promoting school censorship regarding race and diversity, restricting LGBT rights, weakening women's rights. This cruel edict has done more to damage to the black community than anything you could have ever imagined. Black women in DEI positions all over the country have been fired, released from their jobs, or resigned abruptly, many for undisclosed reasons. Lorraine Foreman, Delaware County first DEI director and a lecturer at the University of Pennsylvania, was fired after she filed a complaint with the EEO Opportunity Commission concerning racial demonstration at her job. Tabia Lee is suing her previous employer, DeAnza College in Cupertino, California, after she was terminated from her role as a tenured faculty member and director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the lawsuit, Lee claimed she was told that she was not the right kind of black person. Think about it. In response to Texas Senate Bill 17, an anti-DEI bill passed in January, University of Texas at Austin laid off 60 employees in DEI-related positions, many of whom were black, brown, queer, trans, and immigrant women. Not only have public jobs for black Americans been plummeted, but even jobs in the private industry has nosedived. No jobs lead to no economic means to free and take care of one's family, to experience the American dream. This convicted felon president has set back race relations in this country for years to come, and has arbitrarily and capriciously sought to erase the contribution of black folks in making this great country the nation that it is. If you voted for this evil, bigoted white supremacist, you not only did immeasurable harm to yourself, but you did it to all people of goodwill, dignity, and decency. Shame on you and your ancestors. Our children and our children's children will suffer for your stupidity and insanity. We are now in a fight for our very livelihood. The assault upon our civil and economic rights for the past 6 decades are in grave danger, and our children will not enjoy the opportunities and freedom that we have enjoyed. Again, it's battle time. It's battle time. Every legal and nonviolent way that we can resist these Nazi-loving wannabe dictators, we must do it right now with all diligence and assiduousness. Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Ditto.
All right, that is the one and only Bishop E.T. Cabanis of Greater Abyssinia Baptist Church in Cleveland, Ohio, as well as the chairman of the Greater Cleveland chapter of National Action Network, led by the distinguished elder Marcia McCoy. And I think, Reverend Williams, as we get ready to go, as I was watching some of the documentary that they gave me an advance copy of that everyone can see tonight on Andrew Young on MSNBC, I thought about how we sometimes take for granted the prices that were paid, the bloodshed, some that went to their early graves, and then those like Andrew Young that kept on fighting even till now. Sometimes, an old movement guy told me it is very challenging, Al, and hard to die for the cause. He says, and it's just as hard to live for the cause because there's no retirement plan. There's no exit ramp. You got to fight till you give out. And I think that some of us are committed to that. I played this week my speech at the Million Man March 30 years ago, and I ended with that James Brown quote saying, some of us rather die on our feet than live on our knees. And I'm glad I'm part of that tribe. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank Reverend Stephen Marshall. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally all week long, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you Monday.